Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Stephen, and this is your opposition preview for Everton's away fixture at Villa Park on Saturday. Proud to say I'm joined by Luke again from UTV Fan Channel. Luke, thanks for coming back on the channel, mate.
Yeah, it's great to be back, mate.
Yeah, you might remember, Luke, we spoke a bit about Tim Irabunum, and we'll talk a little bit about his progress at Everton as well later on in the video. So Villa this season so far, I mean, I was thinking about this one yesterday, and obviously the club has been a bit through the ringer and had a lot of tough things happen to it in the last sort of 10 years and stuff. You had that spell in the Championship and everything. Probably quite similar to our situation at the moment with what you guys were going through, but fair play through the other side of it now, and you've got a Champions League campaign to look forward to this season. So currently seventh, 2 wins and a loss. What do you make of it so far? Because it's only going to get tougher.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much been a continuation from last season, really, of how we've been playing and what we've been doing, and sort of where we are and where we're trying to be competing with. A lot of Villa fans have kind of like a fond admiration for Everton. We see each other as sort of like a similar type of club, don't we? Yeah, I think you're going through it a little bit at the minute, and yeah, we're doing well. I expect us to be in and around where we were last year, fourth down to maybe seventh, competing with those spots. I think there's a lot of teams that are in the mix, like I don't know, Man United, Chelsea, Spurs. So it's going to be really difficult to maintain what we did last year. But we've got a really good manager, and he seems to have just got us playing a really good way of football, and I think everything's pretty positive, really. We've got a lot of injuries that have come back. I think last season we had so many injuries that didn't really get spoken about. Tyrone Mings, Jacob Ramsey hardly kicked a ball. Emi Buendia never kicked a ball. We'd got Ramsey, who was in and out. Kamara did his... he had an injury as well around Christmas time. So we lost 4 big players and they're all coming back now. So we've got a really good, healthy squad. So hopefully that can sort of like just push us on a little bit further.
Yeah, and you had that 2-1 win away against Leicester just before the international break. Obviously, I think for Evertonians, any points that you can get are incredibly valuable, especially when they're away. Was that going into that even so early in the season with the momentum that you can carry at Villa and also the expectations on the club now for how well you did last season? Was that sort of like a must win? Were you expecting that win going in there? Because I think when you're a fan of a club like Villa or Everton who seem to do things the hard way, you never really expect to win away games or when the crowd get on top of you.
Yeah, I think there's an expectation there now with Villa. We got 7th under Emery the first season, and we got 4th last season. So there is an expectation for us to be beating certain sides, and I think you're right in saying that a newly promoted team, we should be getting at least a point or beating them if we want to maintain where we are from last season. So it was a tough game because, that it's always difficult playing a newly promoted team because once the crowd get up for it, and it makes it quite hostile. But we played pretty well in that game, to be fair. And I think what I think's happened with Villa ever since I've supported them is that we can play well and lose. And it's the worst feeling in the world. You saw it against Bournemouth. You can play well and lose, and it's so bad. But Villa can actually now sometimes play not that great and win. And I think that's a massive test for us, because you see sometimes like teams that are going for the title, sometimes they don't actually play that well. And you think, God, they're not even that good, but they still win. So I think Villa have got that little bit of resilience in us now that we don't have to be at our best to win. And I think that probably shows the signs of a pretty decent team.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I've seen some of your tweets, and it just seems like a great time to be a Villa fan. Like with you're talking about the Champions League finally, or you're talking about positivity towards your players. I've seen the little clip of Tyrone Mings coming back into training yesterday and having that little bit of belief around the fan base. I think people don't realise how important that is, because at the moment with Everton, there can be belief in little pockets, but it's never really stuck. And I mean, I think I've sort of seen it coming whenever Everton have played at Villa Park the last couple of seasons. That there's more of an onus to be on that team from the very beginning. There's no, the home advantage is definitely a thing now for Aston Villa, and I think that's something that I'd love to see at us. And I think the best teams that always challenge the status quo of the so-called top six in the Premier League, they're the ones who can have that. We saw it with Newcastle as well, going into games and looking like you're not going to let a goal in or you're not going to concede. Basically, you've got absolutely no hope going there. And I think that's what Villa have built now under Emery, especially with Villa Park, because, I've been to Villa Park, and when it's bouncing, it's bouncing. I haven't heard an atmosphere that loud, really, besides maybe at Goodison. The Holt End, when it gets going, oh my word. Last time I went was the season before you guys went down. I think Cleverly scored the winning goal at the Holt End just before we signed him, and I haven't heard noise like that. And I've thought since then, really, that if they can get a good infrastructure going and getting the supporters behind them, Villa can go right to the very top. And now Villa are back where, back in the big time, where definitely, you said before, Everton fans want to see them as well, because there is a bit of a silent respect in them, and a bit of a definitely a team that I have a soft spot for. But obviously we'll go on. The elephant in the room is talking about us. Everton have just been. It's never fun supporting Everton Football Club, especially when you're my age. But the start of this season, you mentioned the Bournemouth game before. It's been absolutely shocking. What's it like from the outside looking in?
It's tough, it's a tough watch, isn't it? I think it's probably a tough watch for you guys, especially. But I just feel like you need to find a bit of a pathway and a bit of a vision. I don't think the vision's there. I imagine you can all, and we spoke this when we did our preview, like you're going through a dark tunnel and you see a bit of light, and it's the new stadium. And I imagine that you've got a real good feeling about sort of a new start being in there. And I think that's probably what you need, but you need everything else to fall into place at the same time. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think your manager helps. I don't think he helps at all. I think it's a bit like Groundhog Day, like the same stuff. There's not really much tactical evolution, I don't think. And if you just keep doing the same thing and repeating the same thing and just like the style, I can imagine I think that's why, you are where you are, because it's not the best, is it? I mean, I think you started last season with 3 losses, this season with 3 losses, and you did all right last year, apart from that points deduction. But I just think, you just need a bit something fresh going in there, I think. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's funny how you say that, and I seen you mention that in your preview about it being like Groundhog Day, but it's funny how football works, because I was thinking about this one, about when you went through your tough period, and we were doing pretty well. We were in and around European places, and I remember Joleon Lescott came to Aston Villa and really stunk the place out, didn't he?
Yeah,
It seems to be an absolute carb, and he was quite respected at Everton. Left under quite some controversial things the way he left and went to Manchester City, and it struck me it's an absolute carbon copy of Ashley Young, because he at Villa, my God, you want to talk about the Barclays men. Trend going around Twitter right now. He was one. Like, I mean, what a player he was for Villa back in his early 20s. Left for Man United, and then now he's at Everton, and he's a fossil, just waiting to get buried under the soil, because he seems like, as you're saying, it's Groundhog Day, bringing on the same players, same tactics, same attitude, when we're ahead or we're losing. Seems to be the same thing. And we saw it against Tottenham, and I mean, I think I even might have predicted it in the preview that it was going to be 4-0, because it seemed, and this is why I asked you the question about the Leicester game before, because I think when you support a team like Villa or Everton, who sort of have periods of going through good moments of form and good seasons, you never really fully expect to go into a game and winning it. But for me, it's just I think we'll be okay. I think it's going to be a case of us warming into the season and having a little bit of trying to go through form.
I mean, why I say like the Groundhog Day phase is because how long have you had Dyche now? About 2 years.
Yeah, I think he come in early 2023.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, as much changed with like the style of play. Like, have you developed a style, and can you see a bit of like progress and somewhere that, like, could you say like, okay, I really want us to finish like 10th this season? Like, I don't personally know, but how do you feel about that?
It's a case of like there is definitely a vision there. You can see what he's doing because he plays the exact same shape every game, and there's been good results. We've gone away to teams and we beat Brighton 5-1 at the Amex. We beat Liverpool 2-0 at home, which we haven't done in years last season. So there is definitely a bit of a vision and something that they're doing, but it just seems like his in-game management is what has costed us in these early couple of games. And it's not a case of we're done and we're dead and buried, because we went through I think a 12-game run without a win around Christmas last year. Hopefully, we're just getting that out the way now. But I can see a little. Do you know what? I can see more of a vision under Dyche than I could see under the likes of Silva or Lampard when they were at Everton. But it just seems like there is a vision. They're just not very good at executing it. But I mean, look, we're struggling, but I think, and I was saying this the other day watching England. Lee Carsley's gone into that England team, and he's playing pretty much the exact same system that they played in the Euros under Southgate with the three in defence. And it hit me, and I said to somebody, if Sean Dyche got the England job tomorrow, he'd have them in a 4-4-1-1, and he'd try and bring Abdoulaye Doucouré in because he does the exact same thing and expects different results every single week. And I think part of that is related to safety and making sure the club. And I think, to be honest, his goal and what he was brought in to do is to keep the club just above afloat until they can get into the new stadium. But to be honest, I can't expect him to be here next season. Honestly, I think this is it now. It's his final season at the club. I think once they get into the new Bramley Moore Stadium, they'll be looking at a more forward-thinking manager.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at like what West Ham have done, albeit they've had quite a bit of success with winning a trophy and stuff. They've sort of ditched Moyes and gone for like someone that they think can possibly play a little bit more of attractive football in Lopetegui. So, yeah, I think get into that stadium and fresh start and just try and reinvent Everton and just get them going.
He's the anchor that has slowly kept us just above sea level in the last couple of years. But we'll go on and we'll talk about Villa. I mean, of course, we did the video, didn't we, about Amadou Onana, but I wasn't expecting him to hit the ground running as well as he has done at Villa.
I probably did, because I know what Emery's like, and I know that Emery improves players. He does it with absolutely everybody, like Tielemans, Rodgers, like every single player that plays for Villa, Emery has improved them. And we did some videos on him, and there was like Everton fans saying like, he's no good. 50 million, it's too much. But I don't specifically think we signed the Everton version of Onana. I think we signed a player that probably what you wanted when you recruited him, and what we can make him become. And I think that's the big thing about Emery and Onana. And he's just doing so well. But what he's done is he's filled a hole in our team that we needed. We needed physicality. We needed more of an engine in there. We needed like height presence in our team for defending and attacking set pieces. And we've got a really good set piece coach, and he's really like utilising Onana in that as well. So yeah, he's hit the ground running straight away, and he's doing really well for us. But I think it helps as well that he's playing with Tielemans, and that's their double pivot for Belgium as well. So, when you sign a player and they've got to get used to each other and stuff like that, well, he hasn't really got to get used to Tielemans because he plays with him all the time anyway. So, yeah, he's started really well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you were saying there because, and I think I probably said it in the video, you he had so much more potential than we were able to give him. And playing in this Everton side, he just wasn't able to fill that potential in the role that he was playing. The player who came the other way, Tim Bunham, it has done what I think. To be honest, it was a perfect deal for both parties. Them both going the opposite way because Bunham has definitely 100% been our player of the season so far, and he seems to relish playing in that slightly deeper role. He's got a good turn of pace on the ball and seems to fit this system so well. But we spoke about him. He was a bit of an unknown quantity, even when he came into Everton, wasn't he? But I'd say if you want to go and have a look at some of his highlights so far this season, he has been a bit of a shining light in our team.
Yeah, to be fair, I've watched your games this season, and obviously I've been watching for Bunham as well because, I think when I spoke to you when we were doing that episode, it was like that there's a player there, a really good player, but I can't tell you much about him because he's not really being given a chance. And I've seen an interview that he's done this week, and he's been talking about that when he was at Villa, he didn't get as many opportunities, but when he got them, maybe he didn't take them with like both hands. And I think that's pretty fair for what we expected with him, really. So I'm really pleased that he's doing well for you. He's slotted in seamlessly as well, and I think he's playing a bit deeper for you, but he's versatile that he can play a little bit further up if he had to as well. So yeah, I'm pleased that he's doing well for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Evertonians, probably the same with Villa fans. A player comes in and they have a few games and they have to really show you some sort of sign, or they can never really, redeem themselves. And he's been one that immediately coming in, the fans have took to him and gone, "Oh, we like this lad," and he's the crowd have got quite affectionate towards him already, and he has, like you said, then. I feel like whenever he has had that opportunity, even in pre-season friendlies, he's taken them with both hands. So he's clearly rectifying that in terms of his career because he's taken the opportunities when he's had them, and now he's sticking in the team and doing well for us. How do you think Villa are going to line up? Because I'm not sure how your injury list is looking at the moment.
It's getting a lot better. So I imagine our team's probably going to be Martinez, young right back called Bogard, Konsa, Pau, and Digne, Onana, Tielemans, maybe Ramsey on the left. I think Bailey's going to be out, so it might be Jaden, who you were after in the summer. So it might be him, but he missed the Leicester game, or it might be just McGinn. And then we'll have Rodgers and Watkins pulled out the England squad, so it might be Watkins or Duran, really. So, yeah, we've got good options, good bench. We got Barkley as well, who had a good game against Leicester. So, yeah, I think we're not far off being full strength now, really. So that's what you want going into this part of the season.
In terms of players for us that you think it could make a difference, is there anyone who really you look at this Everton team? Because I know there's a lot of players in that Villa team who I look at, and there's so many just good, solid players. Is there anyone that, from looking at Everton this season, that you go, oh, they could be a player that we need to look out for?
Yeah, is it Undai?
Mm.
Is he? Yeah, he looked good against Bournemouth. I was really impressed with him, so I think he's good. Harrison's, he's a willing threat, isn't he? He's quite direct. Calvert-Lewin, looks like he's back at it now. So I think he's going to do pretty well this season. Should score goals in the Premier League because he knows where the back of the net is, doesn't he, in the Premier League? So he's good. And then it's just your defenders. I know you're big on set pieces, and if Villa are going to try and limit your amount of set pieces and corners you can get in the game, you've got players like Tarkowski who can get on the end of stuff and cause chaos. So yeah, I think probably that and Die, really. He's the one that sort of has caught my eye.
Yeah, I'd say the exact same. Some of the new signings have come in and done really well. Hirabuna Manindai, really pleased with them. But again, they took them off towards the end of the game, and it just sort of went south very quickly. You mentioned John McGinn there. I think he's my favourite player in this Villa team. Seems to just do the dirty things well. Just a really solid player, and one that is a bit of a throwback to some of the centre midfielders of old. Is anyone who you really think is Villa's best threat for us? Because there's going to be a lot of them.
At the minute, I'm really liking Morgan Rogers. I think he could probably cause you a lot of problems. He's just dribbling, his strength, his power. He had a great pre-season. He's doing really well at the minute. He was the best player on the pitch against Arsenal when we played them. Under 21s, he's done well. So I'd say Rodgers is probably Villa's standout player at the minute. But the midfield's just battling well. It's doing well. It's creative. It's strong. Pau Torres is really good ball playing centre half. If it's Watkins or Duran, might be Duran. Duran's got 2 goals in 3, so he's a big threat at the minute for Villa. So yeah, I'll probably say Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd say that. He scored, didn't he, for England under 21s the other day as well? And I don't think he's far away from getting a call up for the full sides as well. He's definitely been one. Again, when you've got a bit of momentum in your club, you can bring these players in, and they seem to just hit the ground running. Seems like Liverpool and Arsenal have been doing it for years now. I'll get your score prediction. I'm not going to give you mine because I try and remain positive on the channel, and I did it against Tottenham, and I didn't tempt fate. Yeah, score prediction. You don't have to remain. You don't have to remain.
It's a tough one. I mean, we need a home win. We played Arsenal at home and lost. Probably shouldn't have lost, but we did. So I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-1.
I think if we can stay in the game up until the end of the second half, that's going to be the main thing for us. But when that Villa crowd get on top here, it just feels like the world's closing in. So no, I think it for Everton it'll be about staying in the game. If we can do that, I think we can get a draw. But I think, on the whole, I'm expecting Villa to go on and win this 2 or 3-0. I need to wash my mouth out after that terrible taste of Everton. So we'll do something a bit different for the opposition views. Just a couple general football questions, a little talking point to end the video off. Football, I think, has become a little bit of a saturated thing. That it seems to be happening everywhere you look. There's something going on. What's your biggest pet peeve about football at the moment? Because there's definitely, I think, for clubs like us, isn't it? There's definitely a lot of them to be had.
What would be? Do you know what I'd probably say? And this is because I'm like, like you guys create content. Like I hate the backlash if your club lose and the opposition fans come and hammer you. Because it's just so annoying. Like I don't know, it just winds me up. Like I feel like I'm pretty fair, but Arsenal especially, like the rivalry they created with Unai Emery and the bitterness towards him. So that's what I'd probably say. It's probably nothing to do with football, more to do with like creating the content, really.
Yeah, that's definitely valid. Luckily, with our channel, we just seem to be so polite and try and keep it strictly football that we don't get too many real negative comments from on my videos anyway. And also, who's going to win the league and who is going to get relegated this season? I think it's a tough one, relegation this season, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the league's done. I think Man City. No, I don't see how anyone is going to stop Man City.
And there's my pet peeve right there. Just
Really?
same teams every year. It blinds me.
Yeah, I don't think Arsenal are going to be second either. I think it'll be Liverpool. I think Arsenal are going to fall off it, I think, a little bit this year. Relegated, I think Southampton, rock bottom. I can't see them at all staying up at all. And then I'll probably go with, who else? I think Wolves are going to struggle. I think Wolves could go. And I'll go with Leicester. So Southampton, Wolves and Leicester.
Yeah, I think Wolves is a bit of a funny one, isn't it? There was a time when I was like, oh, they're slowly getting closer to the bottom. But it was the same with Brentford for a time, wasn't it? But they seem to have repaired that a bit now. But anyway, thanks for joining me on the channel, mate. Always good to have you back. And yeah, hopefully, if next time you come on, we won't be talking about another poor Everton performance at Villa Park. It seems like that is the case every single time now. But yeah, make sure you go check out Up the Villa fan channel. They make some really good content over there, and the Everton preview is out now. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Toffee Blues, and I'll see you in the next one.